Big thank you to Gardening Gal for bringing it to my attention that you did remember that original video that I made regarding Dave Anderson rubbing on me and rubbing me the wrong way to a degree that it made me not want to go to church anymore, and I didn't go anymore, because if you wouldn't have reminded me of that, I wouldn't have continued searching until I found it. But because I did continue searching until I found it, only because you said, I remember you making that video, now that I found it, it created great content for another video, the last one I made, and possibly the most epic video I've ever made that is proof that God works in mysterious ways and that the Spirit is working through this guy. Through a year and a few months, more than a year ago, I made that original video, citing that guy by name. And this is how, put yourself in the position of that bishop who walks up in front of me with Dave here to the side with his hand on my back. The bishop walks up, says, "Dave, Jeff here does great work with wood." I say, "Yeah, to be honest, Dave, you're a little bit too handsy. And you are the reason that I didn't come back to church for a while. Okay? All right?" Then I turned around and walked away with him and the bishop standing right there. The next day, I send the bishop a text message with a link to the video that I made a year ago, proving that that statement that I just made to Dave in front of the bishop was absolutely true. That the reason I didn't go is because Dave Anderson was doing exactly what he was doing when the bishop walked up, and I called him on it. Except this time, he didn't start out, "Hey brother," with his hand on your back, and then a little bit at a time move it down a little bit and start rubbing and caressing a little bit more. He just walks right up. "Hi, how you doing? I look for you every week." Here comes the bishop, and that's when I turned and let him have it with no hesitation. And I didn't raise my voice, but it was clear to the bishop and to Dave, if we weren't here in this building right now, you might have more of a problem than you do. Because nowhere else in the world would you walk up to people and start showing love. "Hi, how you doing?" It's only because you're here in this building, and it's a Mormon thing. You'll see them doing it a lot. A lot of them are sitting there rubbing each other's back, but it's a wife and husband. That is a physically intimate gesture that you do to someone that you are physically intimate, not strangers with. "But hey, because we're here in the church, I can show brotherly love." It makes perfect opportunity for predators to disguise their predation and their pathological behavior in order to groom potential people. And when they make you feel uncomfortable and you don't say anything, they get that psychosexual thrill of domination. They know you feel a little bit uncomfortable and they can sense the change in your energy, but the fact that you're not going to say anything gives them a little bit of a thrill. "I'm just showing you some love." Put yourself in the position of this bishop who walked up, saw me, lay him out, give him that verbal tongue lashing and let him in such a way that it's pretty obvious. You're lucky we're here in this building. And it's the only reason you're doing what you're doing is because we're here in this building, and it gives you the cover to do what you're doing. Or you might have more problems on your hands than I'm about to give you right now. Because for me to say, "You're the reason I didn't come here," in front of the bishop, there's no deeper of a knife I could have stuck in him. Right there in his happy hunting ground, where it's no longer happy hunting for you. Because I've exposed you for who you are and what you do with my witness and my testimony. That I followed up the next day by sending the bishop a link to my YouTube channel, so now I know without any doubt he's got access to my YouTube channel. Not that he doesn't have anything else to do with his time other than watch my videos, but I know for a fact he now has access to my YouTube channel. And I sent him that link both in email and a text message to his cell phone, because when I sent it in the email, it didn't make it a hyperlink where you can just click on it. And so I sent him a second one, said it doesn't look like it's making it into a hyperlink. You might have to copy and paste this video link, copy it and paste it into the URL, Universal Resource Locator. And so then I also sent him a text message version of the same exact copy and paste through text message where I know it did a hyperlink because I forwarded that text message that I sent him to his phone over to my other phone, and it comes up as a hyperlink where all you got to do is click on the link in the video. So he has no excuse to say, oh, I didn't link and I just didn't have the time to copy and paste. He works at a bank. He knows how to run computers. And that kind of puts him in a position now, similar to my agents. When I made that video exposing the pedos of MGMT Music, the music group that creates the song Electric Feel and Kids, with all the pizza and hot dog and crying kids, both cartoon pictures of crying kids and actual tears coming from a real child. So much of that pedo symbolism in that music video that nobody would make that video in a post-Pizzagate world, because now all of that symbolism and imagery is commonplace knowledge. But at the time when they made it, they thought they were getting away with something. And like Madonna said, they are so naive. They think we are unaware of their crimes. We're aware. We are just not prepared to act yet. But there is a higher law that is coming down, and justice will be served. And these undercover intel agents are everywhere. And one of them just served Dave Anderson. And just like I said to the agents, any agent who doesn't pick this up and run with it, the investigation will then be directed toward the agent who sidelined it and said, there just wasn't enough evidence there. I just didn't see anything wrong with all of that evidence of MGMT being part of a large pedo group that could, if it were put in the proper hands of an investigator, lead to multiple arrests. If you subpoena the cell phone and the email records of everyone in that music group and their managers and their producers and everyone associated with them, that could lead to a large ring of arrests going down. Because I prepackaged the investigation, handed it over to my agents that monitor my channel. From the multiple different agencies that put an agent monitoring my channel, from the implant to the sun tunnel to the airborne aircraft carrier to the floating black craft in Pleasant Grove and elsewhere. There's multiple agents that monitor my channel from multiple agencies to the plasma fire. And so I said to my agents, here you go, a prepackaged preliminary evidence that is enough to lead to a larger investigation. And it is so much evidence that I've just handed you here. To the agent that doesn't roll with this and pick the ball up and run with it, the investigation will now be directed at you for having sidelined it. Big up to my agents who turned the comments off on that video. My white hat agents at the system administrator level in YouTube turned off the comments in that video so that the black hats couldn't see what I was doing and what I had just served up on a platter, a whole ring of pedos, now accessible through the preliminary evidence, prepackaged and delivered. And all the black hats got to do is come say, red alert, red flag, quick. Send someone to make some inappropriate comments in the comments section of that video, and then take it down for inappropriate commentary. The white hats, the agents who I was talking to, my agents, turned off the comments in that comments section. And I realized the comments had been turned off, so I went in and manually turned them on, and about 4 or 5 people got a few comments in, and then they got turned off a second time. I realized, I get it. Whoever turned those comments off twice wanted that video to stay up. And they knew that that's why they were doing it. Because the black hats, all they got to do is send a sock puppet account to make some inappropriate comments in the comment section about that sensitive subject matter of the child abuse, and the video gets taken down. So in order to prevent that from happening, they just turn the comments off in order to keep that video up. The same system administrators that turned them off twice at the system administrator level could have just struck it down. They could have sent the sock puppet account to make the inappropriate comment and said, that's why we got to strike this video down and remove it. There are white hats at the system administrator level. And to my white hat agents, I will include a link in the description for the rest of y'all. Where it's called, It Hurts to Set You Free, But You'll Never Follow Me. That's the name of my video. Where at 11 minutes, 20 seconds, it says that you cannot find any of my Missouri trip videos. At the time when I made that, you couldn't. Because at the time, they were still erasing my channel, all of my videos from the bottom up. But then when COVID hit, they restored about 100 or so of my videos. At the time, 100 of my videos were missing and you could not find any of my Missouri trip videos. As I stated in this video that I will link in the description, where you can go to 11 minutes 20 seconds and hear me say and talk very calm and matter-of-factly about how you can't find any of my Missouri trip videos anymore, because at the time you couldn't. There are white hats at the system administrator level, and that's who took back over and restored my videos. That's who turned the comments off on the MGMT expose. We're going to talk a little bit more about that here in just a second. My point is that bishop is now in a similar predicament as the agent. If you don't pick this ball up and run with it, the investigation gets directed towards you as to why you did not. Maybe you and Dave Anderson got some things in common. Similar hobbies, lifestyles. Because me being able to make that video over a year ago and follow it up with the experience that the bishop himself had when he walked up to me and saw that go down between me and Dave, and I stuck it straight to him and let him know this is where the bear shits, and no, I see right through you. And then send him the video. This is the video I made a year ago regarding that guy doing exactly what he was doing when you walked up and I saw the opportunity to clean house, exactly as I said a year ago in that video that I would do. If that bishop don't want to clean house, hey, what can I do? They say they don't want to clean house. They don't want my help. I don't need the Mormons. I got God. I might be able to magnify my calling with some of them, but certainly there are some of them who would rather me not help them clean house. They like the house just the way it is. They don't think their house needs any cleaning. No, they like it just the way it is. I tried. So now that bishop is in the same predicament as any agent who would see everything that I laid out with the MGMT musicians and just go, oh, I don't see nothing there. It's a nothing burger. Yeah, I don't see nothing wrong with that. Then I think maybe we ought to look at you. I don't care. I have no vendetta for Dave or this bishop. But the fact that I was able to make those two coinciding events, that's not a random coincidence. That's a coordinated, orchestrated coincidence. Coordinated and orchestrated by the intelligence that pervades the universe that the ancients called spirit. That spirit works in mysterious ways. And thank you to Gardening Gal for telling me that you remembered me making that video so that I would go and find it and be able to bring that from a year and a half ago and pair it up perfectly with that which happened yesterday and deliver it to the bishop on a platter. Say, you witnessed it with your own eyes. And exactly what I said in front of that guy, to that guy, when I chastised him, is exactly what I said over a year ago about that same guy. Would you like help cleaning house? That's what I'm here to do. If you don't want my help, that's fine. God's got plans for me elsewhere. So, I'm going to get into some equal opportunity lambasting. Because I've said this is a recruitment effort, and I think I might have found a couple recruits, but a few of them were definite duds. The music See, I went to the park. I went 2 places with a guy named Eric from Provo, Utah. First, we went up to the hot springs in Spanish Fork, Utah. Then, we went slacklining at a park in Provo. But between the hot springs and the slacklining is when I made that expose of MGMT musicians and what pedos they obviously are. Because they put out all the calling cards that were made public in Pizzagate by the FBI themselves. I got that song from Eric's slacklining video. I'll include the link in the description, where the song Electric Feel comes on, and Eric is over there in Provo Canyon, I believe, slacklining, like tight-roping, but with a slack line. Tight-roping down in and across the river. And I like that music so much. I look him up. I'm like, yeah, that's good. I like that. And that's the song Electric Feel that has all the mechanical bears and gorillas from Showbiz Pizza. And then I look into that band and find that they've done this video called Kids, where it says, don't look too deeply into the abyss or it will look back into you. And clearly that guy is into some deep, dark child abuse. As indicated by the metal stud belt on his waist in place of a seat belt, and the cage with the bars in place of a child seat, and the blood on the side of the crib where the kid is in the crib crying real tears, and the cartoon tears coming out of a child's face, all in the same video called Kids. And the circle and the triangle with the triangle spiral, a triangle spiral, the pizza, the hot dogs. It's all very clearly announcing what they're into and what they're part of, using code words that are no longer secret after Pizzagate. But 11 years ago, when that music video was made, it was still unaware. These days, no one would make that music video. You don't even have to know what the symbols are. You can see what they're doing. They're abusing that kid and enjoying and glorifying it. And I text to Eric in between our trip from the hot springs, and then we went to Provo, did some slacklining. I text him about the pedos that I just exposed, because I know he watches my videos. And I talk about how this muse, the spirit within the music, is kind of like a superpower that can be used for good or evil. And MGMT, the musicians, were clearly into the dark side. Eric never mentioned a word about it. Funny thing is about Eric, he also never mentioned a word about his trips to Thailand, Philippines, Cambodia. Other than that he went on a 7 or 8 year spiritual journey seeking spiritual enlightenment. You'd think that you'd have quite a few stories to tell, unless the things you did there were things you don't talk about. So yeah, he told me that he's been all these places in search of spiritual enlightenment. Sex tourism is their primary trade in places like Cambodia. That's why most people don't take a commercial flight to Cambodia. They take a commercial flight to Bangkok, Thailand, and then hop a charter flight off the records over to Cambodia, because there's only one reason people go to Cambodia. And so Eric tells me he's been to all these places, spent a lot of time in these places in search of spiritual enlightenment. But throughout our whole trip up to the hot springs and while we were over there slacklining, he never comes up with a story. Oh yeah, that reminds me of this time when I was in Thailand. Oh yeah, that reminds me of this time when I was in the Philippines with this guru master. The other thing Eric says is that he doesn't have a cell phone hooked up, and he hasn't for 10 years. He's like, oh yeah, I've been that guy for 10 years. You mean before people were worried about 5G and electromagnetic radiation, you were that guy or you were afraid of electronic surveillance and knew that that's how most of those people get caught. So the fact that he uses Electric Feel by MGMT in his own slacklining video as the background music, which leads me to MGMT's other video, Kids, which has all the pizza references, just like the Showbiz Pizza mechanical bears and apes that are in Electric Feel. And I tell him, isn't that kind of odd? And he doesn't mention a word of it. Like, wow, that's bizarre that you exposed a potentially wide-ranging investigation that could lead to a lot of arrests based on that one music song that you got from my slacklining video. No, he didn't want to talk about that. Never mentioned it. So now let's talk about charlatans and frauds. Guru wannabes. Because this guy, Eric, is essentially the Hans Bimler of Provo. When it comes to sound bath. You guys might have ran into these new age people that are like, ooh, let me do a sound bath. And they come out with the didgeridoo and all these weird sounding instruments. And they call it a sound bath, where they bathe you in vibratory frequencies with these sounds and are essentially like a blind man popping the hood of your car and feeling around under there and pushing here and pulling there and twisting here and setting their intention to fix whatever's wrong under the hood and just feeling their way through it until they feel like it's fixed. There, yes, there, it is done. Combine with that a little slack line where you go, look what I can do. Like Stewart on Saturday Night Live, you know, look what I can do. 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 I can do a yoga pose on a slack line. And you can pretend that you're some sort of guru. Like Hans Bimler. People come to my comment section saying that they can clear the chemtrails out of the sky by heating up vinegar and water and pouring it on the ground. And I tell them heating up your Massengale vinegar and water douchebag and pouring it on the ground does not clear chemtrails out of the sky. You don't know it, don't knock it till you try it. You should try it. I am not so open-minded that my brains have fallen out. But that is the type of soft-minded people who want to take a quick, easy route towards guruship rather than putting in the time, effort, energy, and resources it takes to truly educate yourself and truly become the guru that you want to be and be the change you wish to see in the world. Instead, you can just fake it by looking the part, like Hans Bimler, who looks a bit like Gandalf the Wizard. And he attracts soft-minded people that go, ooh, you got that wizard-esque look to ya. My point that this is leading around to is, Eric, you should cut your hair. Like your dad said, but for different reasons. If you're not, as I have previously hinted at, someone who's already given into the dark side and has a closet full of skeletons so deep that there's a reason you say, God, I want this plasma apocalypse thing to happen so quickly, just get it over with. Because every day that we tick towards the finish line and it stretches out, each passing day is like an eternity of anticipation, not knowing what's in store for you in the debt that you've incurred on that shame debit card, that mortgage that you pay on until death. Each day of paying in anticipation, wondering what you have in store for you and what you're going to have to pay for those things that you did that only you know. No wonder someone like that would want this to happen right now, because each passing day is like an eternity for them, not sure what they're going to have to pay and how that burning lake of fire is going to feel. But if you're not that guy, I suggest you not be the poser douchebag I referred to in my previous video when I was talking about some guy telling me that bees, oh, it's your vibe, man. Let me tell you how these charlatans work. They sell the sizzle and the aroma, not the substance of the steak. One way they do it is cloaking it in mystery. James True told us about this. Cloaking something in mystery makes people think, ooh, there must be something good under there. I just don't know what it is. It's got all this wrapping and packaging around it to where you can't actually see what's under all the wrapping and the packaging, but all the mystique and the allure of the Gandalf wizard-looking hair and the yoga poses and all the sound bath with the gong and the om. And he looks the part. Yeah, he looks the part. He plays the part. The only way you're actually going to become the guru that you really want to be is to stop pretending. Ideals over idols. Principles over personalities. Substance over style. Function over form. Taking the form of a guru, looking the personality, pretending to be the idol, is what you're doing. And Hans Bimler, who pretends to be some sort of guru wizard and tells people just heat up vinegar and water and you can get rid of chemtrails. Or you, who does a sound bath. And when I ask you if you know what you're doing, if you know what any of these effects have upon the person, you got real defensive. Real defensive. Because I hit a soft spot, and that's the truth. You don't know what it does to the person. You know it does something. And from that point, you play the guru. Oh yeah, you had a blockage. You had an energy wall that you built up. I just moved some energy through you when you don't know a damn thing about what it does to a person. You just know it does something, and it makes them feel something. Beyond that, you have no clue what you're doing. Not like a mechanic who knows what to do where in order to get the effect or the result and the desired outcome. You just know how to push buttons and pull levers and turn knobs until they feel something by inducing all these vibratory frequencies that you call a sound bath. And you've got the hair with the man bun and the slacklining. You pull a yoga pose on and you look the part. You're playing the personality. You're not incorporating the principles. You're imitating the idol of a guru, not incorporating the ideals. You're taking the form of a guru with your hair and the look and all the dressing, but not having the function of a guru. You have the style, but not the substance. You're selling the sizzle and the aroma of some real deep, profound knowledge, but you don't have the underlying substance. You're packaging it in mystery. Oh, well, and when I ask him, so do you have any idea what any of that does? Oh, well, I set my intention. I set my intention to do something good. And then I just kind of feel, I intuit my way through it. Yeah, a bit like a blind man popping the hood of a car and just feeling around. I'm pushing here, I'm turning there, I'm twisting this, and I set my intention. I'm like the car whisperer. I ask the car, I'm like, I feel where the car's blockage is, and I release the blockages. If you want to actually become the guru, you're going to have to stop pretending to be a guru. And the best way to do that is to get rid of the outfit, to get rid of the look. Like a good-looking girl who can rely on her good looks so she doesn't actually have to develop any inner character. She can just rely on her good looks and be a total airhead. If you got rid of the man bun and all the rest of the dressings that give you the air and the appearance and the sizzle and the aroma of a guru, you would have to actually speak some profound knowledge in order to get anyone to take you seriously as some sort of spiritually enlightened being. But as it goes, all you need to do is stretch out your slack line. Look what I can do. Look what I can do. Strike a yoga pose on a slack line. Gong. Make some noises. And if they feel something, you pretend you knew what that was. You knew what you were doing. And you pretend that you have some concept of control over actually being able to understand the mechanics of these frequencies, when in all actuality, did something. You're pushing buttons and pulling levers and twisting knobs, and if they feel something, from that point you can pretend you knew what you were doing and that you're some sort of guru. You want to actually become the person who you are impersonating? Stop impersonating. You'll have to actually take upon yourself the function of a guru once you give up the form and the man bun. You'll have to incorporate the principles once you quit portraying the personality. You'll have to incorporate the ideals within your lifestyle once you quit imitating the idol, the image of a guru. Cut your hair. See how far you get then in those circles where you pretend to be a yogi. You'll actually have to say some profound shit and know what you're doing and develop the inner being to the point where you have to become the person that you're impersonating up until this point. That is why I referred to you as a poser douchebag. Daniel Alexander Cannon. He put up a video today. It's only 10 minutes long. You should watch it. It's proof of everything that I said. Him and his gematria is a magic trick, a parlor trick. Ooh, it must mean something. I don't know what. But he sells the aroma and the sizzle, that there must be some underlying knowledge, deep understanding and wisdom under all this gematria, under all this symbolism and metaphor and the sizzle and the aroma. There must be a really good steak under there. Must be some really deep, profound knowledge. Same thing that Passing By 33 does. He cloaks everything he says in wizard speak. Starts talking like Yoda. Like Yoda talking, does he? Someone asked him, why do you use 33? He said, wobble your head back and forth and tell me what world you live in. Oh, wow, that must be some real deep, profound knowledge under there. If only I knew what the hell he's just talking about. This guy must be really smart. Because I'm pretty smart and I don't even know what the hell he's talking about. That's how you sell it. Cloak it in mystery. Instead of answering a question, you just ask a question. As if you know the answer and you're implying that you do know the answer and you're just trying to get them to think. And that eventually they'll come upon this deep, profound knowledge that you're trying to lead them towards in order to conceal the fact that you don't know shit. If we're sitting in a corporate board meeting and someone asks a question and no one in the room knows the answer, I can just pop up and say whatever the hell I want, and I know that no one else knows any different because they've already shown that they don't know the answer to this deep, profound question. So I can just say anything I want, and if I say it with confidence, people will think, oh, you must really know what you're talking about. That's the essence of a con man. The confidence I speak with cannot be faked. You can't project this type of confidence through pretending. Only through first-hand personal experience that leaves you with a memory that comes from the feeling place and you speak from the heart with deep passion could I be so certain of myself, which is why you don't like me to be so certain of myself, Daniel. You should be less certain of yourself and not say those things with such certainty and conviction. Yeah? I guess if I was coming from the place where you are, I might think the same thing. But we're coming from two different places. And I have no pretenses. This is not pretentiousness. You got to go have the first-hand personal experience. Some things cannot be learned or taught. They must be realized through personal first-hand experience. And that's why I say go out there in the world. You can't just sit home and think the right thoughts and reach the right vibration and get into the fifth dimension. You have to go out there into the three-dimensional world to take that internal journey of the hero. You gotta actually go out there in the world and do it in order to take that internal journey. You can't just sit here and ohm your way into the right vibratory frequency and just think the right thoughts and feel the right feelings and become a fucking Zen master. That's what you're doing when you're pretending the way you are. Daniel with his flashcard. Let me show you a million images.